I slid into bed believing it would be an ordinary night, until the mattress sank, slow, intentional, like someone easing in beside me. Heat skimmed my skin, breath gathered at my ear, and fear locked my body still. I told myself it was nothing, just the house settling, just my imagination trying to scare me. But then the warmth traced higher, patient as a decision already made. That was the moment I understood. Sleep wouldn't save me. What followed turned terror into something I couldn't name, and the end is not what you think. The room was washed in that pale blue glow that slipped through my curtains, the kind of light that made everything look colder than it really was. I lay on my side, one knee bent, the other stretched toward the edge of the bed. The fabric of my nightdress clung lightly with every uneven breath. Should have been safe, my room, my bed, my silence. But the quiet wasn't comfort, it was weight. Why did it feel like someone else was in the room, listening with me? The first change was so small I nearly convinced myself it was nothing. A twinge in my chest, the sense that the air had shifted, as though the darkness was paying attention. I told myself it was just nerves, exhaustion playing tricks. But then the mattress dipped, slow, careful. Not the creak of old springs, not my body settling. A deliberate press. My stomach clenched, my fingers curled in the sheet. Should I roll over? Open my eyes? Or would that make it real? The dip came again, firmer, near my hip. I froze, my lashes pressed tight. If I looked and saw nothing, I would lose my mind. If I looked and saw something, I would never escape it. And then warmth slid across the blanket and touched skin. Not a draft, not imagination. Contact, real. My breath hitched, shallow, sharp. It traced the length of my leg, patient, deliberate, pausing just long enough for me to know it wanted me to notice. Goosebumps spread in its wake, my chest pressing harder into the pillow to muffle the sound I couldn't hold back. Fear surged, but so did something darker, a heat that made shame twist inside me. Could it feel that? Was it feeding on it? The air grew heavier, thick with a scent I didn't recognize, earth after rain faintly sweet. I inhaled without meaning to, and dizziness followed. I whispered, "Stop," but the word fractured before it left my lips, swallowed by silence. Did it hear me? Was that what it wanted? Heat pressed at my ear. Not quite a sound, not quite a thought, but meaning carved into me. Mine. The word shook through bone, through breath, through the stillness I could no longer control. My body trembled, torn between terror and something I didn't want to name. The blanket shifted, sliding down as if drawn by unseen hands, bearing more of me to the cold air, and to it. My pulse hammered, my arms useless, my body caught between the urge to move and the certainty that moving would make it worse. The mattress groaned, weight pressing harder, closer, deliberate. That was when I knew. This wasn't a dream, and it wasn't over. It had only just begun. The weight on the mattress grew heavier, pressing me deeper into the sheets. My chest strained against the pillow, every breath shallow and uneven, as if the air itself was reluctant to enter my lungs. The silence in the room felt alive, thick, and waiting. My arms were stretched above me, fingers twitching against the fabric, useless and exposed. The touch returned, no longer testing. It glided along the curve of my waist, tracing the line of my body with unbearable patience. My skin burned beneath it, each inch alive with tingling sparks that made me tremble harder. Shame seared through me, because it wasn't only fear racing in my veins. My body betrayed me with every shiver, every sharp inhale. Did it know? Was that why it lingered? A breath warmed the back of my neck, steady and unhurried. My lips parted against the pillow, though I made no sound. The message was clear without words. Mine. The claim reverberated inside me, making my chest tighten and my pulse stumble. I gripped the sheets, nails scraping fabric as if clawing for a way back into myself. The mattress dipped further, knees pressing on either side of me, caging me in place. My heart hammered wildly. I thought of turning, of breaking free, but every instinct screamed that movement would be worse. The sheets tightened suddenly, drawn taut against my body as though held by unseen hands. My legs twitched in panic, but the weight pinned me down, savoring my helplessness. The scent grew thicker, earthy, damp, faintly sweet, filling my head until my thoughts blurred. I gasped, pulling it in against my will, and dizziness washed through me. My chest rose in shallow bursts, my body quivering as if I had no strength left to resist. A stroke slid down my spine, slow, deliberate, tracing every curve until I arched against the mattress. I hated the sound that slipped from my throat, a broken gasp that seemed to please whatever leaned over me. The silence almost hummed, as if the entire room had shifted to witness my shame. Light flickered suddenly from the corner of the room. The lamp blinked once, twice, casting fractured shadows across the walls. For an instant, in that trembling glow, I saw it, something bending low over me, darker than shadow, closer than breath. Its outline wasn't human, but its intent was unmistakable. My lungs froze. My eyes clamped shut, and before I could even comprehend what I had seen, the light snapped out. The darkness rushed back, heavier than before, swallowing everything. And in that suffocating silence, I realized the night was nowhere near finished with me. The darkness after the lamp went out was suffocating. It pressed against me from every side, sealing me into the bed like a weight I could never throw off. My chest heaved, shallow and broken, every breath a fight against the silence that now seemed to breathe with me. My arms were limp above my head, my legs pinned by a presence that needed no chains to hold me. The touch slid lower, deliberate and unhurried. It traced down my spine, pausing at the small of my back before drifting further. Each second stretched into eternity. My body jerked, not in escape but in betrayal, arching just enough for it to know I felt everything. Shame burned hotter than my fear. Could it sense how my skin betrayed me? How every nerve screamed both no and yes? A breath spilled across my ear, so close the fine hairs along my neck lifted at once. My lips parted, a soundless gasp breaking loose. The whisper followed, not spoken aloud but etched straight into me. Mine. The word pulsed through my bones, through my chest, through the trembling I couldn't control. The mattress groaned as the weight pressed fully along my back, flattening me into the sheets. The scent thickened, damp earth, faint sweetness, clouding my thoughts until I could no longer tell if the fear was my own or something planted in me. I clenched the sheets, nails tearing at fabric, but the unseen grip only tightened. My heartbeat thundered so hard it blurred my vision. If this was real, how far would it go? If it was a dream, why did it hurt so much to breathe? And then, silence. The weight vanished. The warmth dissolved. The scent thinned into nothing. I gasped, pulling in air as though I'd broken the surface of deep water. My arms fell uselessly to my sides, my body trembling with release. For one fragile moment, I thought it was over. I turned my head, forcing my eyes open, desperate for proof that I was alone. The dresser, the curtain, the chair, all still, all ordinary. But then I saw the blanket, 2 deep indentations pressed into the fabric at the foot of the bed. Knees, perfectly shaped, perfectly still. My breath stuttered, my chest locking tight as I stared. And then they moved, inch by inch, dragging forward across the mattress toward where my legs lay frozen. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying the night would release me. When I opened them again, the marks were gone. The fabric was smooth, the room silent. But the silence felt heavier than before, a silence that promised it wasn't finished. Even now, when I close my eyes, I wait for the dip of the mattress, the whisper at my ear, the claim I can't forget. Because once something touches you like this, you never truly sleep alone again. Have you ever felt an unseen touch in the dark? Share your story in the comments. I want to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to Paranormal Sleep for more chilling midnight encounters, because the next story might be yours.